welcome to Weekly Talk featuring Danny and Chris. This is episode number 18. I am Chris and she is
Danny.
Alright, episode 18. We are going to speak only about MGK meet and greets. There was a video posted last week on YouTube, pretty much bashing her experience with MGK and I don't know, I felt like it was pretty much clickbait to make people think that MGK is a bad guy. I reached out on Twitter, and I got some stories of positive meet and greets, and I'm going to share those with you throughout this whole podcast. Danielle is not here, as you guys might be aware. She had her wisdom teeth pulled, and I stole the introduction from last week's episode and changed the number to say 18. I have one thing that I find special that I want to share with you guys, and then we're going to drive forward with the podcast.
You have received a voicemail.
Hey Danny and Chris, this is Charmaine, the Welsh girl living down under. Just calling to say hey, keep up the great work. Absolutely love listening to your podcast every week. It just gets better and better. You guys are doing so good. Also, I'd just like to thank you for giving me a bit of extra credibility with my son Chester. He's listened to the podcast with me and heard your regular shout outs to me. And this has given me a bit of extra social standing with him. He's like, Mum, I think you're famous. So I'll just let him keep believing that. And, well, if your viewership keeps on growing, who knows? Maybe I will be. Anyway, guys, it's great to speak to you. Take care and keep up the great work. Bye-bye.
Come on, guys. You gotta admit, getting somebody from Australia to leave me a message for our podcast is just fucking amazing. And what a better podcast to be on than one that speaks about positive meetings with MGK. Charmaine is the winner of that signed MGK Hotel Diablo that I still have not received in the mail. And she's just as big a fan of anybody else. So definitely the best episode for her to be on. Now, before we actually start this, I want you guys to know that there was a lot of different files in this one, podcast. There was a lot of different phone calls. A lot of people speak at different volumes. I tried my hardest to make this all, not screaming your ear as you're driving down the road or whatever. And if the volume does get a little too high, I apologize. But, I did what I can. I hope you enjoy it. And definitely leave us some feedback.
My name's Kaylee. I'm from South Carolina.
So where did you go see him at?
I saw him on the Justin Bieber Big Tour when he was in Atlanta. Because nobody good ever comes to South Carolina. So
you traveled to go see him?
Yes.
Awesome. So I assume that you watched that YouTube video that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I did.
What were your thoughts?
I feel like that particular show was like a really bad day for him. And like, I understand. And I have a friend that was there, not that girl, but another friend that was there. And when she explained it to me, she did not make it as dramatic and ridiculous as that girl did.
Yeah, I feel like it was a very biased approach. I feel like she wanted to bash him from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about your experience.
Okay, my experience was amazing. And it was the first time I had ever had meet and greet with anyone. And that's why I don't like the videos like what she made, because when I was nervous about meeting him, I was like, well, let me look up, what other people have said. And the first thing that pops up are like negative videos, because there's others, it's not just her.
Right.
And I was like, I'm terrified of meeting him, because I'm like, if he's in a bad mood and it's going to be like put off on me and I don't know how I'm going to handle it. And I was like panicking, but I got there and everything was so smooth. I got there like almost late, because that's my life. I got there right on time. We went in at like 6. They checked our names and everything. And we were in that room by like 6:15. And he came in like 5 minutes later. And everything like flowed perfect. He walked in and it was just like smooth. He was like, hey guys, what's up? I was like, oh my God. Hey. He went around and like shook everybody's hand. And it was in the room, like she said, like they take you to a room, and you have the little Hotel Diablo pillows and
right.
You sit down. And normally, like for us, when he came in, he sat down and he was like, I'm going to explain to y'all why I cut it off at 15 and why I like to do it this way. He was like, because I don't like when you're just thrown in here you take a picture and you're thrown out. He was like, because I want to be able to talk to you, and I want you to talk to me. And I was like, well, that's really nice. I like that because I've never met like a musician. I went to like Comic-Cons and stuff and met people like that,
Nice.
and it was horrible because they like throw you in and they're like, okay, take a picture. You don't get to choose what you're doing. Just get in and get out, and that's it. That's what you pay like $200 for.
So MGK was personable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just sat down and he was like, what do y'all want to talk about? And we were like, we don't know. We talked about like the movies he's been in. We talked about like what he wants to do as far as movies, and he told us like he doesn't want to keep doing movies where he's just a little role and it gets cut out, because he said there was so much more to Bird Box that he wasn't in. He said the only way he's going to do that is that, like, if it's for Pete and he's doing that movie where he's going to be a little bit in it. But for now on, if he does something, he wants to be like bigger in it, because he said it's a waste of time.
Well, I believe
So,
he could
you know,
be like a
not cut
major
out.
movie star. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we talked about like that and why he called it the Justin Bieber Big Tour and all that. So like it was just like flowed.
why'd he call it the Justin Bieber Big Tour?
He said, why? Like, why? He said, why? Because I want you to talk about it. He was like, because who calls their tour the Justin Bieber Big Tour? He's like, I don't know. Me? He asked what Taylor Swift's on tour. What's her tour name? And this guy in the back, it was hilarious because it was a guy. He was like, it's Lover. And he was like, well, I don't know how you knew that, but okay. And he was like, okay, Lover. He's like, great, she's a lover. That's awesome. He's like, but I'm Justin Bieber big.
So did you guys get any like one-on-one time?
I did, because we kind of like talked in that group. And then the guy that was over it was like, okay, it's time for pictures. We got to go. And I had brought him a book that I let a bunch of people on Twitter, like, send me what they wanted to say, and I wrote it in for them. And I had some people from the line that were, like, general admission. I had them sign it, so I wanted to give him that. So when I went up to him, I was like, is there a way that, like, after you get done taking these pictures, I can talk to you? I said, because I have something I want to give you. I said, and I have something I want to tell you. And he was like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, just wait outside the door. Me and my sister and our other friend, we waited out there, and he came out and talked to us again. So I got to talk to him about, I have a tattoo for one of my students because I'm a teacher. She passed away from cancer, and she's the same age as his daughter, and she loved his music, and music was her favorite thing. So I have a Kiss the Sky tattoo, and the S and the Y are her initials, so they're in her favorite color. So I got to show him that, and he thought he was like, that is really cool. That just made my day. But he stayed out there and talked to us for like 5 more minutes afterwards. So somebody was finally like, dude, we got to go. And he was like, oh, okay.
Are you going to go to the Xmas show?
I want to, but I can't afford it.
No, I get it. So overall, your experience, would you rate it, like, what would you rate it out of a 1 to 10?
Oh, 10. Easy.
So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get a bunch of stories just like yours, and we're going to turn it into like one, long podcast so that people get to see the other side, or hear the other side, I guess.
Yeah, I like that, because like when you look it up, because I was nervous, all you see is I had a terrible experience, and that guy that did the picture and the vlog about how he was rude or something.
All right, first
like,
off, the
that
guy that
stuff
did
popped
the
up.
picture, his name's Jack Mate, and I think he only did the picture to like popularize his YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's with her. With her, the way she did her video, it's all for clout. That's
Oh,
all
no
it is.
doubt. I mean, hers almost felt like clickbait because, like, it said something like about proven receipts or whatever, and I didn't see any receipts of anything.
Oh yeah, I was like, what receipt? She burned her picture, and I was like, that's so disrespectful. There was only 15 of those tickets, and there were people that would love, even if that picture wasn't the best, they were beside somebody who like saved their life.
Right.
They wouldn't burn their picture. You know what I mean?
No, I honestly feel like hers was all just for show.
Oh, it was. When she dug up that old video.
I think he's saying
what
dirty
you're talking
dick bitch. Because I don't believe he would use the N-word considering, his daughter is black and some of his best friends are black. So I just don't see him using that word. It's just so disrespectful,
So that video is so old, and the fact that she drug it back up.
Oh yeah, she's just.
Me too.
I don't know.
Because that had nothing to do. That had nothing to do with like anything that she was talking about whatsoever.
No, not at all. I just feel like she's been on Haterade for quite some time. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he did something directly to her, but she can't speak for the masses,
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend that was there, and she was like, it was not. I mean, it wasn't the best experience, and she'll tell you that. But when she told me, she was like, I'm really worried that something's wrong with him and that he really needs to get help. She didn't go like, I can't believe he did that after I paid that money. You know what I mean?
Right. And I feel like something might be wrong with him, and he does plan on getting help, but that's on him, you know?
Exactly.
Is there anything else that you would like to say before we get off?
Not that I can think of.
Thank you. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, all right?
All right, thank you. Bye.
So I'm Chelsea. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I had seen Kells in Cincinnati, Ohio, earlier October, and I had bought meet and greets. We had started out going into the meet and greet room, and he was cutting a mango and was trying to figure out how to open it and just joking about it and everything. Ended up opening it and talking about how bad it was. So we put it down and we started having a conversation with the whole entire group. And he was joking and stuff, and they started doing sound checks, so we couldn't hear each other, and he was joking about telling him to shut up, and we kept asking questions. He was answering everything. He was in a really good mood, really happy, talked about how he just wanted to get out there and perform, and then we did individual photos, and I had walked up to him, and I was like the first person in line, so I handed him this Joker shirt I bought for him because he had just tweeted about seeing the Joker.
Oh, no way.
And he was like, that. Yeah, and he was like, that's it. And he like had the biggest smile on his face. And then my friend had, her name's Summer, she had made these hotel key cards, and they were really awesome. So she sent me one to give to him. And he was like, dude, that's so cool. He was like, you guys are so creative. And he like smiled about that and loved it. And then I had handed him like this letter from my daughter, and he goes, well, what if this does, I'm going to kill my mom later. I said, well, then I guess this is the last concert you're going to see me at. And like we both joked and laughed about that. And he ended up taking pictures like with the Polaroid, and then he was all like, oh, you want to take a selfie? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. So we took the selfie, and he was just in a really good mood that whole time. Like we had joked. I showed him my meme I made about him, which he ended up retweeting and telling me I was out of pocket.
Which meme
I was
is
like,
it?
oh crap. The foot meme, the one that's like he was at the baseball game.
Yes, all right. That is my favorite meme of his. That's cool. That's awesome.
He said the same thing to me. He was like, that is the dopest, funniest meme anybody's ever
I
made
love
to me.
it.
And I was
Just
like, yeah,
the running
hi.
and everything. That's
Like,
very, very awesome. So being
It
from
was
Akron,
too perfect.
I assume you've seen him before that event, right?
Yes.
How long have you been an MGK fan?
Well, really, like, I'm going to be honest when I say, like, I heard, like, Wild Boy, and I liked him, but I wasn't deep into music and deep into EST. Like, I didn't even know what EST was at the time. I didn't really start relating heavily and listening heavily to his music until 2017, when, like, I went through a divorce and everything. I started to be able to relate to everything, and I started listening to everything. And before then, I had, like, really bad social anxiety, so I didn't want to go to shows.
Oh, no doubt.
But so his first show of mine was Double Xmas of 2017.
Are you going to
And
Xmas
that's-
this year?
Oh, yeah.
So you said your daughter had met him as well.
Yes.
I want her to tell us about meeting him.
Okay. Mirana, he's going to have you tell your story of when you met MGK at the pop-up shop.
We walked out of the car. I got to hug him, and then when we went inside, my mom has this phone case. She made me ask him to sign it.
Did he do it?
Yeah.
So you got MGK's
And-
autograph.
Yeah. It's on a phone case for you.
My mom has it on this little stand, right, where she has all her MGK stuff on the top, and then everything else on the bottom and other shelf.
Well, that's cool. How old are you?
8.
You're an 8-year-old, and you got to meet MGK. You know how many adults haven't gotten to do that?
Oh,
Tell him about how he hugged you the second time.
oh, when was that?
When you went inside.
We went inside.
Remember when you got to hug him again?
Yeah, but when was that?
When we went inside the shop
Uh-huh.
and Casey was there.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And
yeah.
he said your name was cool.
Yeah.
So you got to hug him twice.
Mhm.
Yes.
And did you like that?
Yeah. Guess what?
What?
I'm going to Double Xmas.
Are you really?
Yeah.
It's
Are-
your first show.
Uh-huh.
You've never seen him before this?
No. I also have some of his merch.
How much of his merch do you have?
Oh gosh, you have the head
3.
tattoo,
Okay, yeah.
you have the Hotel Diablo purple shirt, and you have your bandana.
So 3?
Yep, 3 things.
3 things.
What grade are you in?
3rd.
Do any of your friends listen to MGK?
No.
That makes you a unique person. All right, so I'm going to talk to your mom, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I really just can't believe that you have a daughter who's, like, obsessed with MGK.
Yeah, she loves him. It's pretty awesome. she's like so excited.
So what made you decide to take her to one of his concerts?
So like I figured, because Double Xmas is more of like, I feel like it's like a show you can't really miss, and I figured that'd be a good one for her to go to. Because every other show I like to have pit, and this show I can sit out on, because there's just so many people in that pit. And I figured like she's been begging me, so I might as well just bring her to one show. And she had told him at the pop-up shop, she was like, I hope my mom brings me to one show. And he was like, yeah, she's gonna have to. And I'm like, well, now I have to, because he told her. Yeah, she has to.
So, is there
That's
anything else
awesome.
you want to say about your experience meeting him?
He's just one of the most humble and genuine, down-to-earth people with a beautiful smile that lights up the entire room. He's human, so everybody can have their off days, but other than that, there was no problems, he was just amazing at the show and nice to everybody. Nobody had a bad experience at my show at all.
All right. If you could go 1 to 10, what would you say your event was?
Oh, a 10.
A 10?
Yes.
I guess that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
If you hear correctly, I do believe the daughter asked what exactly would be happening. So what's happening is we are taking these stories. So far, that makes 3 with a 10 out of 10 rating on their meet and greet experience with Machine Gun Kelly. Obviously, that YouTube thing definitely was just a biased opinion. So please stay tuned for a little bit more of them stories, eh? So now I'm sitting here with Bob, and Bob has actually met MGK a number of times, but let's talk about one of your earlier times.
Yeah, it was in Cleveland in the basement of a place called Peabody's. Really, it was a basement. What's funny was I wasn't even old enough at the time to be down there, yet I was older than MGK. Yeah, they had to kick us out. It was actually the club owners that did, but yeah, he was a little upset about it, but from all the times that I've talked to him, as a performer to a fan, he's been pretty good. He's been decent. He's even recorded a couple shout-outs for Chris that I actually had recorded for him.
So overall, all right, so like I said, this video log is bashing him hard. Would you say that he doesn't care about his fans?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's kind of hard to really take one instance and plaster that as the whole of a person's personality. And I get it because, to MGK, that's one bad night that he had. And to that fan, they were probably looking forward to that for a while. So it seems like, to them that he doesn't care about their fans. But, you got to look at the larger picture. Sometimes people have bad nights, and celebrities, they're human too. They're allowed to have bad times, and she might have just got him on a rough night. Who knows? He might have got bad news right before he went out.
I feel like it's all too often that people expect these celebrities to perform in a manner that isn't human.
Yeah, they think they're invulnerable. They think they don't have bad days. That that they have to jump to every fan's whim and be on all the time. And sometimes you get people who have a really good facade, but they don't all do that.
So this woman who made the video, she even went as far as to talk about his drug abuse and blame his drug abuse for why he lashed out on his fans. Now, keep in mind, the meet and greet she was at, there are several people who are coming forward saying that, he didn't really lash out. She might have been one of the very few at that meet and greet who had a bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, what is she trying to get at here, man? Because I really feel like it was all clickbait, but I don't know.
It's popular to hate what's popular sometimes, you know what I mean? Just pick a sports team that does really well, the Patriots. Some people hate them just because they do well. It could be that, or it could be her own perspective that colored her impression of what he is and how his meet and greet was. She might have went into it with a whole different thing in mind, and when it didn't live up to what she thought it was going to be, she might have, misread the situation.
So she pretty much put him on this pedestal that could not be met.
It's easy to do because you're seeing them at their best all the time. So, when you see them like that on TV or in videos and then you meet them in person, sometimes meet and greets can be hectic. Sometimes it's hard to keep control of a crowd. Who knows what the real reason is. I think that she should give them another chance. If she really is a fan, she wouldn't be so quick to judge.
Well, she completely said that she unfollowed him and cannot support him in a time like this. And maybe in the future, if he can prove to her that, he cares about his fans, she will give him another shot. And I'm just like, all right, you pretty much just went against everything that he's tried to push over the last 10 years. Like,
I mean, at what point would she be happy, though? You know what I mean? What does he have to do, really, to win her back in that sense? Is it worth, not from his perspective, but is it worth having her back if she's going to be that quick to jump ship?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, like I tried to say in one of our earlier episodes, I said, as a fan, I don't know who Colson Baker is. I know who Machine Gun Kelly puts out.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Colson Baker is who you meet. You don't, you're not meeting, some stage man who only, performs music. You're meeting a human being.
Absolutely. Let's take it back. I know, this is a sore subject for some, but Eminem, back in the day, he even said it on his own records. Don't come to me while I'm having dinner with my kid. Don't come to me when I'm in the bathroom. Don't come to me at this and this and this and this. Now, that didn't happen in this situation, but he's saying flat out that he's not always Eminem. You know what I mean? Sometimes he's Marshall Mathers.
Oh, yeah.
And the same thing could be said of other people.
MGK
you can't expect them to do that.
MGK's had a song where he says, put your camera down and come stand next to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of rappers are kind of pushing that agenda. Even Logic he has a song where he says, I'm pretty much tired of when somebody meets me, the first thing that comes out is their camera. They don't even want a handshake. They just want to, snap a selfie.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, sometimes celebrities could feel like they're more of a commodity than a person, and it's kind of a rough way of going right now. But, comes with the territory, I guess. I don't want to be too heartless about it, but people are excited. They want to remember that moment, and especially if you got a lot of people there, you can't spend, half an hour talking to each individual person.
Right.
I haven't spent a lot of time talking to MGK, but the few times that I did talk to him, he seemed like a good person, seemed like down to earth, and, he was really excited. And, like I said, sometimes we actually did run into him on the street, me and my cousin, when we were going to a concert that he was running. And, we talked to him for a little bit, and he actually recognized me from months back. So, like I said, something like that goes a long way with me at least.
Oh, no doubt. MGK, I've met plenty of rappers. I've done plenty of VIPs, but MGK stands out. Maybe it's because of the Ohio pride. I don't really know, but he's always been that one who is, like, about his fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, when we were up at that concert that had B. Wills, me and Doug were walking down the strip and ran into MGK, and he recognized me from, Peabody's and the one in Akron, and he recognized me from some of those. So, I thought that was really cool that he sees how many people a day, but he was able to recognize, me standing out there on the corner.
Dude who's pulling, like that one, there's a video where the heavier set woman says, like, he's pulling fat bitches on stage, and he's making people's day all the time.
But those are the kind of concerts that I remember that stick out the most, is when there's 30 people there, you know what I mean? And he's still jumping on stage and still singing his heart out like he would if it was an arena. So I haven't seen any of his later shows lately, but I can hardly believe that he'd back down from that kind of energy that quickly.
Well, the first person that talked about his meet and greet, she's even went as far to say, she was nervous to meet him. So she would look up what they were like, and all she has is these negative energy meet and greets that she's basing this off of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's try to put that positive side out, because I've never had a bad experience with MGK.
You're going into the situation with your own ideas of what it's going to be like without any perspective on what they're like as a person and what their situation is like right now. Just because you've talked to the guy a couple times doesn't mean he's going to spend hours with you. But, sometimes you got to really come back down to earth and realize, he's got a lot to do. He's busy. And one fan, as important as fans are to him, they can't take up all of his time. They can't be, the sun, moon, and stars to him. It's kind of rough to say, but he's got to do it. So out of thousands of people that go see a show, if you get a couple that had bad times, that probably is going to come with the territory.
All right, here we go. A scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate your experiences meeting MGK.
All of them together, I'd say about a 9 or 10. I mean, really, without actually going out to a bar with the guy solo, I've had some pretty good one-on-one time most of the time. I remember I got that shout-out video for you. He actually walked away from his entourage at the time to come over to the corner and do that for you. And it took, about 5, 6, 7 minutes that he could have spent with other people or could have spent, walking around with his entourage. So it was, to me, that was a really cool thing for him to go out of his way, because he remembered your name and he recognized your name and what you did to help bring more people to him. So, he thought that'd be worth doing. So I've never had a bad experience talking to him.
What was that for? That was because I was deploying, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you were in Egypt at the time.
All right, yeah. So now I want people to know, this guy took a camera out of Bob's hand to fucking walk away and shout me out as I'm overseas with the U.S. Army. And he did that just to make a fan feel happy,
Yeah.
If you hate on a man like that, then I can't respect your opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I've had a couple run-ins with them, and I've never had a bad one. I mean, again, like I said, people have to come into it knowing that this person is performing for a lot of people. They're not just here to perform for you. So you can't go in there thinking that you're the center of this person's universe just because you bought a CD or that you got something signed for them. It's got to be, you have to take a realist approach to it.
Yeah. Well, if you got anything else to share with them, I'm going to let you do that.
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, you just got to look at both sides. You can't just take one person's, perspective, even if one is more attractive to the other, than the other. I mean, like I said, a guy like MGK, he's got a brand to represent, he's got a brand to protect. So I doubt that he's going to be a real, a shitbag to fans. I don't see that happening. So maybe this person just misinterpreted the situation.
All right, man. So we're going to move on to the next caller, man. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
This is Brandy from Indiana. I got the privilege of meeting Kells at the acoustic set they did in Indianapolis this year on the Justin Bieber Big Tour. He was super, super sweet. I was wearing a shirt that says, "I just want to listen to Machine Gun Kelly and forget about all my adult problems," and he liked the shirt. And then my son got to go, and he thanked my son for coming. It was awesome. He was so sweet, so sweet. I can't believe anybody would have anything bad to say about. I mean, everybody has their off days, but I mean, was so just, his persona is like this big bad, like, don't mess with me dude. But I have this feeling that if anybody could ever actually get behind his walls, he is just like this, like just a big teddy bear. I don't blame him a bit. I would be super, super protective too.
And I think a lot of people still fail to believe, like, they don't know Colson Baker. They're only getting to see Machine Gun Kelly.
Yep. How I found, I actually started listening to Machine Gun Kelly from watching The Dirt. I'd always loved Motley Crue and was having a bad day and turned on The Dirt. And as soon as it was over, I Googled Douglas Booth and Colson Baker. And when you Google Colson Baker, Machine Gun Kelly is the first thing that pops up. And it showed, like, Floyd was on Ridiculousness and Catfish, and I saw that. And I remembered hearing about the flash mob when it happened, but I never really listened to his music. And the first thing I watched was the video from Fest from 2017 that Reebok posted. And instantly after like the first song, his lyrics just grabbed my soul, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I watched Fest from 2018, and when he dead stopped the show for the girl that had the seizure in the audience, I was like, that is an amazing human being, because let alone a rock star, just the fact that he stopped the show, got down off the stage to make sure she was okay, and then when he got back up there, he killed it the rest of the show. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to find more. So I went back and went all the way back, started watching and listening to everything I could find, and oh my gosh, my life has changed so much. It's unreal.
Right. So let's go back to your the concert, the acoustic thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, how was your acoustic event? How was meeting MGK in your eyes?
I would say a 9, only because it wasn't as like comfortable and relaxed as I would have liked. You know what I mean? It was, you could tell it was very like structured, and certain things had to be done, and I think it would be cool just to be able to hang out with them. You know, just to be able to sit in a room and just have a normal conversation and not have a picture taken, not have to worry about oh, I have to watch what I say because this person's got their phone out or this person's got this or, which I don't think very many people get to do because anytime he lets somebody do that, they screw him over.
Oh, no doubt. MGK has always been a fan of putting your phone down and having a conversation with me. And I get it, man. Could you imagine having a camera in your face at least 23 hours of the day?
No, I couldn't.
So,
can you imagine not being able to go get a cup of coffee without people following you?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
seriously.
I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people hate Eminem because of the beef, but back in the day, Eminem had even said on, I am whatever you say I am. He said, I can't take a shit without somebody, asking for an autograph. I couldn't imagine how hard that lifestyle would be on your mentality.
He is a normal person, and that's how he needs to be treated. And I don't think people get that.
No, because we're stuck in this mindset that being famous means you don't have feelings. You are,
that money somehow fixes all your problems.
You're what I expect you to be. And honestly, I feel like MGK is done with the fame, man. He could probably do without it. I think he would be much healthier if he weren't famous.
I saw in one of his Montreality interviews, one of the questions they asked him was if he had enough money, what would he want to do? And he said he would want to go to India and live where nobody knew who he was and just be able to play his music on the street in peace. And I'm thinking that was from like 2012. It's like, I can't even imagine. Like even Cleveland, he can't even go home to Cleveland without people doing that. I mean, seriously, he's so well known.
Well, I think it's a lot of musicians nowadays. Like even Logic says he doesn't want. I'd rather you put your camera down and come shake my hand.
Yep. At the acoustic set, they asked us not to have our cameras out, and I was like, dang, I was so disappointed because I wasn't going to record them, but I wanted to record my son's reaction.
No doubt.
To being able to experience that, and when they said that, I was like, oh crap. And then I saw a post the other day with somebody that had been at the acoustic set saying she listened to her recording, and I was like, are you serious? That was the one thing they asked. And he made it clear that that was not the station asking, that was the guys asking.
No doubt, yeah.
And to me, that is just disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. They didn't have to do that. They asked one thing: don't have your phones out. I don't want to say I get what I want from him when he's on stage, but you know what I mean. When I go to a show, I expect to see an awesome performance. He delivers that every time. When I buy the CD, I expect to hear good music. He delivers that every time. Past that, he doesn't owe us a thing. No doubt. He doesn't owe pictures. He doesn't owe meet and greets.
The meet and greets aren't a very common thing. Like, he just brought that back. He used to do meet and greets all the time. And it was just too much for him. So being grateful goes a far way. Tell me what your favorite song is, and then follow it up with your, just how you feel about MGK and how he's impacted your life.
Save Me and Demons are two of my absolute favorites that I go to all the time. But I mean, like, obviously everything on Hotel Diablo is awesome.
Hotel Diablo, I do feel, is the absolute best album he has released. So before we go ahead and get off of here, if you could say one thing to MGK, what would that be?
Thank you.
So we're going to wrap this conversation up right there. Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Don't believe everything you hear. Listen to him with open ears and give it a shot. You won't be disappointed.
Before we go into the next conversation, I would like to introduce you guys to our very first ever ad. Are you looking for that special, unique, handmade gift for yourself or maybe even a loved one for Christmas? You should visit Centuries Crochet on Facebook and Etsy.
They make anything from hats, scarves, sweaters, stuffed animals, or even Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Centuries Crochet can make pretty much anything.
Centuries Crochet even offers patterns for all those do-it-yourselfers out there. Again, that is Centuries Crochet. How do you spell that, Danny?
It's CENTUREES, Crochet. They're on Facebook and Etsy, like we said before.
Give them a visit. Thank you. On to the next call.
Hi, I'm Kara Stevens, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
Not too sure if you are aware of the video log going around about this woman bashing him.
Oh, yep. Oh, yeah.
Well, so she was the inspiration.
Cringe.
Yeah, after watching that, I was very displeased, and I wanted to make something that people could go to for positive feedback.
Absolutely. I've met him a couple of times, and he's never been like that whenever I've met him. I've had my daughter with me a couple of times. I brought her to a few shows, and like she's met him afterwards and stuff.
How old is your
And
daughter?
he was all. She just turned 11. I took her to her first show when she was 9.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we drove. Yeah, we drove to Jersey, and there was a big gap in between like where we were and the front of the stage. So we knew that like he could see her. So I kept like trying to push her closer and closer to the barricade. And when I finally did, he like went over, grabbed her hand. She was crying.
No
She was
fucking
so
way.
excited. Yeah. I mean, she's probably as close to a big fan as I am. But I mean, she definitely takes any and every opportunity to tell me how well he touched my hand and he didn't touch yours. And he clearly remembered me and he doesn't remember you. And you know, so the meet and greet that I just went to in Kingston, Rhode Island, right away the lady said to us, you know, okay, well, come in, take a seat on. They have these like little circle pillows. It was really cool. And they said Hotel Diablo on them. And she was like, oh, just pick a pillow and sit down.
Did you get to
I'll
keep
give
the
you a heads
pillow?
up. No, and everybody asked, like, oh, do we get to keep these? She was like, no, sorry. She was like, I'm going to give you a heads up. Like, he could come in super wild and crazy, so, like, just be prepared. My friend that came with me and then these 3 other girls, we were probably the most loud and obnoxious people there. 10 minutes went by, and she had said, well, he may bring Casey in with him, so keep it appropriate. So then we were like, oh, I wonder if Casey's going to come. That's so sick, you know, whatever. He finally comes in. He was super, super nice, walks in, and like maybe like 2 seconds later you turn around and there's Casey. She's probably like as tall as I am. He came up to each and every one of us, shook our hands, like, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming. Hey, what's up? Thanks for coming. And he sat down and was just talking about how he wanted to bring the meet and greets back and how he really wanted to kind of like reconnect with like the fans.
Did it feel intimate at all? Did it feel like you actually had like a one-on-one connection?
Yeah, it really and truly it was. He was talking a little bit about his nephew, and Casey was just sitting there hanging out, like completely unfazed, while we're all like, "Oh my God, it's like royalty in front of us."
No doubt. I understand that.
You know, we were asking how the tour was going so far and how he was feeling about it, and he said, you know, it's weird because me and Thug are like we're cool, like we're best friends. So it's and we have such a different dynamic of people. I go on first, so I'd really appreciate if you guys stayed for the Thug set, like show support. So then that way, you know, maybe if we can get everybody just to kind of show support to each other, like everybody can open up to you know each other's music pretty much.
Do you know how cool that is that he would request that? Like that's crazy for him to know that you're there for him.
So nice. It really and truly, it was crazy how almost like normal he was. I could barely form words because I was so surprised, I guess I should say. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And I swear all the time. So I'm like, I don't want to say like the F-bomb or, you know, things like that in case he's sitting like right next to me.
Yeah, I get it.
I got wicked shy, and I'm not that type of person. He was talking about the drum solo. He said, you know, oh yeah, I kind of messed up last night, so I want to make sure like I get like my practice in today. And somebody asked him, you know, oh, how is it performing in Lowell? And if you're from Massachusetts, you would get the joke. We got up and we all lined up and took the pictures, and I wearing the shirt that has the back of his head and then that hot topic. And so when I walked up to him, he was like, oh, cool, sick, those shirts are out there. And I was like, oh, no, funny story, I got this hot topic. And then that was it. That's all I could say. So he took the picture, and I love the pictures that we took. And at the same time, I look like an emoji. My smile is so huge. Now, like, whenever I send that emoji, I'm like, oh, great. That's what my face looked like.
So are you going to go to Xmas this year?
Absolutely. And Kinley's coming with me.
What?
He has no idea yet. Yep.
All right, so you've had how many meet and greets?
So I only did the one.
So you've
but...
met him number of times. Have you? Would you rate? All right, I need a 1 to 10. How would you rate your experiences with MGK?
All together?
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt, I would give him a 50. I wouldn't even give him like on the scale.
Awesome.
It just each and every time he's really just been like, hey, how'd you like the show? Well, you know, his interactions like with Kinley, he's made it almost not just like a family, like your friend. You know what I mean?
I do.
If that makes any sense.
I do. If you had to pick one song to say is your favorite, where would you go?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I know, right?
Oh, my goodness. I love this song, and I wish he would perform it, is Dope Man. That song gets me hyped up.
No shit. All right. That's pretty cool that you've been fucking with him for so long.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I literally, Kinley's first song that she was really like, oh, I really like him, was End of the Road. Right now, the most that I play is Hotel Diablo.
Duh.
And it's more so because of, oh, wow, like somebody else, like, okay, like, so he feels this way too. Like, it's not just
it's
me.
more relative. All right.
Yeah, a lot of his songs that are especially talking about his parents and like his dad and stuff, I feel like this Kinley's dad is not in the picture.
Okay.
So for her, she relates to those songs like, oh, somebody else has gone through this. Somebody else.
So it's like giving her an outlet.
Exactly. So when I hear those songs, it gives me a better idea of exactly what she's feeling.
No,
if that makes
that
any
actually
sense,
makes a
you
lot
know?
of sense.
So it really, when he talks about things like that, like it really does give me a better idea. I want to say she's maybe 4 or 5. She was like, can you put on that Change song? Change song? And I was like, for a while, I was like, the Change song, I don't know what that is. But it was End of the Road.
Oh, yeah. Keep the change and have a nice day.
Keep the change and have a nice day.
Do you feel like you and your daughter have a stronger bond because of MGK?
Absolutely.
If you could only say one thing to MGK, like if he were to hear this, what would you say to him?
I would say thank you.
Now, if you guys have watched that video, you'll know that the woman who made the video actually said something about how MGK threw away the roses that this woman had given him. I was able to contact that woman, and we're going to hear her story next.
Hi, my name is Teddy. I'm from Indiana, but I met Kells at the Chicago show on October 25th. Obviously, there's a lot of things going around about that show, but I just want to say that my experience was the loveliest experience ever. He was nothing but kind to me and so sweet. When I first walked up, I brought him pink roses to the show, or to the meet and greet, and I gave it to him, and he smiled, and he was like smelling them and stuff like that, and he definitely didn't do anything to my flowers. He was very kind to me, and he listened to everything that I had to say, and we had a very positive conversation, and he was literally like nothing but smiles when I met him. Like he was smiling the whole time, like he was laughing, and he was just so incredibly kind to me. And even though he was not in a very good mood that day, he was still so kind to me, which meant like so much to me, and just proves what kind of person he is, that regardless of like what's going on in his personal life, like he's still not going to take that out on like someone who didn't do anything. So I had the loveliest time, and it went like better than I could have ever imagined. And I just want everyone to know that that show was not at all how people are saying it went. I was there, and it was just the loveliest experience. He was so kind to me. He complimented my shoelaces. Like, he was just so nice. Like, he asked me what my name was, and he laid his head on mine, like in our Polaroid that we took. He was just so sweet, and it was so positive. There was nothing negative about me meeting him.
How would you rate your experience out of a 1 to 10?
Like an 11.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't know. That video that girl put out kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, of course. I couldn't believe that she made that video. Like, I met her and she was like very nice, and I was like, okay, and then I saw someone had like posted the link in the video, and I'm like, what is this? And I started watching it, and I like literally like real life like gasped at the things that she was saying. And then when she brought up me in it, I was even more like shocked. I was like,
Did he throw your
kidding
roses
me?
away?
No, he didn't do anything to my roses. Like, he literally was sitting there like with them in his face, like smelling them. And the thing also, she wasn't even there when I gave it to him. I was the last person to like go up and take my picture, so like nobody but like his security guard and like people who worked there. There was like 4 other people in the room with us, like, and it was nobody that was like at the meet and greet with us. Like, she wasn't even there.
All right.
Yeah, I have no idea what she's even like talking about. Like, she wasn't even there. And if he would have like thrown away my flowers right in front of me after we took our photos, like, I probably would have cried right then and there, and I definitely wouldn't have like posted on like Twitter and stuff about like how positive it was, you know what I mean? Like, I would have been so upset that I wouldn't have been able to lie about it being positive.
That your
like,
first time?
I couldn't have.
Was that your first time ever meeting him?
It was.
All right. How long have you been an MGK fan? Not that matters, just curious.
I first heard him back in like 2012. But I didn't really get into him until last September, I think it was. A lot of things were going on in my life. Like, him and his music came into my life like literally at the exact moment that I needed him. I was going through like a lot of things. I was very disconnected with a lot, including like music, because music is very important to me. And it was like randomly that I started listening to him. It was just kind of like a random thing that I like listened to one song, and I was like, oh, like, I haven't heard him in a long time.
What was the first song that like made you go back to him?
I think it was The Gunner. It was like on my like suggestions of something. So I clicked on it and I was like, oh, and like I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, I haven't heard him in so long. So I started listening to more, and I think maybe like the 4th or 5th song that I had clicked on was Let You Go, and that was like the first song of his that I ever like cried to and like emotionally connected to. And like, I listened to like so much that day, like, that I hadn't like heard, and like literally since that day it's been him. Like, it's just been, I've been so like invested in like his music and everything. Like, he just became so important to me so fast, because like I said, I really needed him. And like, this is probably going to sound lame, but I think sometimes things happen for a reason. And like, maybe when I first heard him in 2012, why I didn't really get into him is because I needed him when I needed him. And if I was already listening to him, it wouldn't have had the same effect, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's pretty much everybody's story with MGK.
Yeah. And I just like, it like makes me sick and like breaks my heart to know like that video is like out there full of lies, just for like everyone to like see and like potentially believe, especially people who don't like know anything about him or like really know who he is, you know what I mean? Someone
Oh yeah,
just, like,
definitely. Like, it was
like,
definitely
oh yeah,
clickbait.
Yeah, like people like are like, oh, okay, this guy's an asshole to his fan. It's cool. And just like never even like give it a second thought just because of her video. For her to like also like put my experience in there and like lie about it, I just don't understand where she was even going with any of that. Like, she lied about every situation that she said in that video. Like, some things in her video, they didn't happen the way she said them, but like obviously he wasn't in a good mood like that night. He tweeted about it. Like,
did he do a
himself
drug deal in front of you guys, or like on a phone call?
Oh my God, no. So he did get a phone call and he puts it on speaker. I don't know who he was talking to, but someone said, do you need anything or want anything for tonight or something like that? And he said some happiness. So he said that, which was true. And then something about shrooms was said, and he said, oh, I already have some, but you can bring some more if you want, or something like that. And like, we all like laughed because like, whatever. Nothing about coke was said. She like made it seem like the show was late because he was backstage like doing drugs and stuff. And I'm like, the show was late because there were literally like 4 people opening up before him that like were not supposed to be there at that show. Like, So the show did run late, but like the opener that had been the opener on the whole tour specifically wasn't supposed to be at the Chicago show, but then like came out and was like, surprise, like, so it like ran late because there was like more people opening before him than necessary. But she like made it this big thing that like he was talking about like Coke on the phone and then was like backstage like doing it. That's why the show ran late or something. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's so dramatic for no reason.
Even if he was, the substance of his music implies that that shouldn't shock you.
Yes, exactly. That was my thing. Like, we all know, like, what he struggles with or what he does. Like, it doesn't, like, that phone call was, like, his own phone call. Like, why did it have to be mentioned in your video? Like, that had nothing to do with the meet and greet or nothing to do with your experience about him talking what he was saying on the phone, you know?
Is there anything you want people to know before we hop off here?
I just want everyone to know that that girl is lying, like, about everything because she made him seem so awful, and he was not awful. He was in a down mood, but we all already knew that. Like, even people who didn't attend the meet and greet or the show knew that. But even though he was still so kind to me, and like I said earlier, that just proves what kind of person he is. That even though he wasn't feeling, like, good, he still came to the meet and greet because he still, like, wanted to, like, give that to us. You know what I mean? Like, hang out with us. And he was still so kind to me. And he did not trash my flowers. He didn't do anything rude or disrespectful to me or my flowers.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you for telling your story.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to tell it.
No, yeah, it was my pleasure. And that was my very last phone call. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get everybody that I wanted to, talk to, be involved. But I was able to have somebody call and leave a voicemail about their experience, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Johnson, and I'm calling to share a great experience that I've had with meeting Machine Gun Kelly. So I've been a fan of his for, I don't even know how long now, maybe like 7 years. But April of 2016, it was actually April 22nd, his birthday. I was in Studio City with some friends, and we were actually going to a taping of a show, like a TV show, and I was wearing a lace-up shirt to celebrate his birthday because I'm a big fan. And that morning, he had just gotten a new car for his birthday. He posted on Instagram, and we were getting lunch at a restaurant nearby the studio we were going to the taping for the show. And when we were walking out of the restaurant, we were walking down the street, I heard a guy go like, hey. And at first we thought it was kind of catcalling because it was just me and like two of my girlfriends. And then I turn over and I see Slim, MGK's friend and producer, sticking his head out of a car window. And I was just like, wait, that's Slim. And then I see the car, and it was the car that he had just gotten that morning. And I was like, oh my God, like that's MGK's car. So I like ran over and I like saw him in the driver's seat, and I was just like, happy birthday. And he was like, thank you. And Rook was in the car, and Baze, the drummer and bass player. And I told him that I was from Denver because he grew up there a little bit when he was in middle school, and like having that connection. He was just like, that's so cool. And I was like, I know you hate pictures, but is there any way I can get a picture with you? Because I was like such a big fan. And he pulled his and while we're talking, he's like stopped in the middle of Ventura Boulevard, like stopping traffic to talk to me. So there's that. And then he pulled his car over to like a parking meter, like got out. Everyone got out of the car, like all gave me hugs, and like he stopped to talk to me. And I was just telling him how big of a fan I was and how much his music has like helped me and how much I love it. And he was just like so nice. And he was about to, I think Roadies was about to come out. So I don't know if that had come out yet, but we were just like talking, and he took so many pictures with me. He made sure that like I was happy with like what we got. And then he was like, let's get some in front of the car. Cause like he had just gotten it that morning. So he was really excited about it. And so we just like took a bunch of pictures, and then like I was telling him happy birthday, and I told him I've been listening to him all day. He's like, oh, cause it's my birthday. And I'm like, yeah, like I was celebrating for you. So yeah, it was just super genuine and wholesome. And like, I would have never known that he drove by me. Like they stopped their car to get my attention because they saw the shirt. So he went out of his way to get my attention. So yeah, just in short, he stopped the car, got my attention, pulled over, and took pictures with me on his own birthday. So it was just really nice and genuine, and like I'll never forget it. One of the photos has been the screensaver on my phone for almost 4 years now. I've met him a couple times since then, not as much of a personal interaction, but I've been able to say hi after a show or at a special event. And he's always just been like so nice and made sure to give everyone like a little bit of time just to say hi or a quick hug or something. So I know he has his off days, so it's not fair to blast that and make that his, perception or like who he is as a person, because it's not. So yeah, happy to share my story. Hopefully you guys can share it. If not, I'm happy to share it with just you. But yeah, he's just a great person, and anyone is lucky to meet him and experience him. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and I can't wait to hear the episode. Whether I'm on it or not, I just love hearing great interactions with him. So yeah, okay, thank you. Bye.
I appreciate everybody who participated in this project. I apologize to all those who wanted to, but because of my lack of time, I was unable to. I hope that you guys still listen. Danny will be back next week. Like I said, she got her wisdom teeth pulled, and I kind of ran with this one on my own because of that fucking video that clickbaiter put out. You know how it ends. It goes, today I learned. Well, today I learned I don't like doing podcasts without my beautiful wife, so there's that. And today I also learned there's a lot more good experiences than just the one bad, so try not to focus on one bad thing and look for all the good things out there. It would really help you. As always, it's been What the Fuck. Nuh-uh, it's Weekly Talk featuring blah, blah. Alright, you guys know how it ends. As always, Weekly Talk featuring Danny and Chris. Make sure you guys go subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitter, all that fun shit. Leave us a voicemail at 859-444-4641. 5-star reviews. Those are definitely going to help us get recognized. We need them. Please do not fail us with the 5-star reviews. Thanks, guys. I hope you come back for more. Oh, one last thing. Make sure you email us at WTFDaveandChris@gmail.com. Why Dave and Chris? Because we like Dave. That's why.
Please remember to subscribe, follow, and email us at WTFDaveandChris@gmail.com.